I've got my spreadsheet here, and now I'm kind of wondering, how do I even tell which of my students are absent? So I'm looking at all of my students' attendance from October 9th, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to select all of the October 9th data, and I'm just going to throw a color on it to help that group stand out to me a little bit. And maybe I do that each day. So now I'll go down to 1010. I'll color that group in pink, let's say. That might help me visualize a little bit. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select their first and their last name. I'm going to copy it by hitting the Command and C key on my keyboard simultaneously on my Mac, or my Control and C on my Dell. And then I'm going to go to the plus sign down in the bottom left. And I'm just going to call this my 1-2 alphabetized sheet. Now what I'll do is I will do my Command and V or Control and V to paste that data. Just drag out column B a bit. And now I'm going to select column B, and I'm going to two-finger or right-click on column B and say Sort Sheet A to Z to alphabetize the data. At this time, if I have my eSchool pulled up in a second window, I can place them side to side to compare the data. I can see that I have 17 kids, and I can just kind of compare them to see which of my kids were absent and mark them absent. That's probably going to be the easiest way to take attendance, and what I would recommend if you're kind of a Google Sheets novice still at this point. And this is a sheet that I'll probably just continue to use every day. So once I've done this for October 9th, I'll select the data, hit delete on my keyboard to clear it out. I can also set it back so that it's back to white, and I can go back to October 10th, select those students, copy, paste, and sort, compare. So if you're new to Google Sheets, that's probably going to be the easiest way for you to take your attendance each day, continuing to recycle this sheet as needed each and every day. If you are a little bit more adventurous when it comes to Google Sheets and you feel comfortable playing around with formatting, playing around with formulas, then there are some ways where we can get Google to do some of that work for us. Stay tuned for those other suggestions. So I've got my spreadsheet of data here, and it's in date order. But now the issue is it's going to be hard for me to figure out which students are absent just by glancing at this data. So I'm going to look at my attendance for October 9th. So that's all of these kids right here. And just to help me visualize it a little bit, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to highlight this group in blue just so it's clear which group I'm referring to. And I'm going to use Command C on my Mac or Control C on my Dell keyboard to copy that data. And I'm going to go into this second sheet that I created here. This second sheet is my full 1-2 roster that I copied over from eSchool. I have the students' first names and the students' last names. I've alphabetized them. I've not included any kind of title that says like first and last name. It is literally just the information. It's also important to note that I have them in columns A and B. To do what I'm about to show you, I want to make sure that I have their first names in column A, their last names in column B. So now what I'm going to do is directly beneath my actual roster, I'm going to paste what I just copied. You can see I made a mistake. I accidentally copied the timestamp column, so I'm going to undo what I just did. I'm going to go back to that other sheet, and I'm going to copy just the first and last names. I'm going to leave off the timestamp this time. So again, I'm going to go to that first cell, in column A, and I'm going to paste that data. So now I have up here in the white my actual 1-2 roster, and down here in the blue I have the kids that showed up in my 1-2 on October 9th. Now I'm going to utilize a conditional formatting formula to help me see which students were absent. I'm going to click between the A and the 1 in this empty box to highlight the entire spreadsheet. Then I'm going to come up to Format, Conditional Formatting, and I'm going to go to this drop down that says Format Cells If, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to Custom Formula Is, and then I'm going to paste in this formula, and where it says Formatting Style, I'm going to come down to the color. I'm going to change it to a bright red, because what this is going to do is it is going to highlight the students who were absent that day. I'm going to click Done. I'm going to close out of here. So what I'm looking for now is any students who are highlighted in bright red on my original roster, my eSchool roster. I can see that Christy Shu is highlighted in bright red, and what that means is that Christy Shu is a unique value. She does not appear in the list that I copied over from my attendance spreadsheet, which means that she did not take attendance that day. She is my absent student. So now when I go into eSchool, it's going to be super easy for me to go straight to Christy Shu and mark her absent. She was not present that day. So now that I've taken attendance in that way, I'm going to go down, I'm going to delete that old data. Notice how that just turned everybody red, because now everyone is showing up there only once. And this is a process that I will follow every day. So I can go back to the attendance. I can go to a different day. So today I'll go to October 10th. I'll highlight them in a different color, and that's just going to help me have a visual between what is my attendance spreadsheet data versus my eSchool data. I'll go to the first cell beneath my eSchool data, I'll paste, and today I can see that I have a whole lot of absent kids. Now we can see in this instance here that the child's last name was highlighted, but his first name was not. That means that I did have a John in my class today. It just wasn't this John. So that is something to be aware of. If you have a bunch of kids with common names, let's say you have a bunch of Johns in one class or a whole bunch of kids named Smith, let me show you another strategy that you could use as well. So I'm going to go back up to my October 9th kids, just because they're going to work as a better example. And I'm going to copy them. I'm going to delete out these October 10th kids. Bye. So I'm going to paste these kids back in. What I can do is I can go up to the B column, so the last name column, right click or two finger click and say sort sheet A to Z. And now what we're going to see is the kids listed in white are my eSchool roster kids. The kids listed in blue are my kids who took attendance that day. So what should be happening is I should see white, blue, white, blue, white, blue. If I see white, white anywhere, that means that that student was absent. So if I scroll down, I see 2 white rows in a row. I do not see a blue Christy Shu. So that shows me that Christy Shu was absent. So that's another strategy you could also use. Once I've finished using that strategy, I'm going to hit Command Z so that my eSchool data and my attendance data re-separate. And again, after I do this process each time, I'm going to go through, I'm going to delete out this old data so that it's fresh and ready for the next day.